Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be just me sitting down talking to you guys about some expectations versus realities that I've had in my life. It's going to be the start of a series called Expectations versus Realities. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Here we go. Alright guys, so I decided I wanted a big boy chair for this video. That's right. Let's take this off. Alright. So, like I said, this video is going to be about some expectations versus realities that I've had in my life. This first video here is going to be the expectation that I had of college. I went to the University of Illinois. Hat's a little dirty, but you get the point. I went to the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, and these are just some expectations I had going in. Versus what actually happened. So stay tuned. All right, expectation number one. I expected for college to be a lot harder than it was. And I don't mean that in like kind of a cocky way or anything like that. I purely mean it that I expected it to be a lot more challenging, a lot more time consuming than it actually was. However, while it wasn't challenging in the mental sense, like trying to stay on top of schoolwork was very challenging. Going into college, I thought the hard stuff was going to be the schoolwork, the workload, stuff like that. And as you go through the years and get more in depth on your specific study, it does definitely get tougher and harder to keep up with. But that first year specifically going into college, what hit me like a train was definitely not realizing how hard it was gonna be to kind of balance social life while also trying to keep up with your studies and stuff like that. So I kind of went the route of staying by myself. I went the route of just saying, all right, no social life, let's make sure I do great in school. And then my second year, I struggled with doing the absolute opposite of that. And I said, you know what, my first year, I had no social life. So my second year, I joined a frat, Kappa Sig, love you guys. I joined a frat and I spent like the majority of my time trying to focus on that. And then I will probably have a second video just talking about my expectations of joining frat life and versus the reality of that, because there are a lot of bad stigmas out there that I think, especially an organization like Kappa Sigma, definitely fights against. So I really did kind of do the inverse of that in my second year, where I fell back on practicing staying on a schedule with schoolwork, and I prioritized social life. And then my third and fourth year, I think I found more of a balance with it, but that's something that I always struggled with, and something that I still even struggle with now. So that's the main thing that I think college kind of teaches most people is how to have that balance of work and school and whatever you're trying to do professionally, and also what you have to get done with maintaining relationships. I'm not sure how many people watch me who also watch Unis Honest, but Mark Markiplier, Mark Fishbach, he talked a lot about how he works and that like makes him have less time for his personal relationships. So that's definitely something that a lot of people struggle with, and I think college is a great place to try and figure that out. All right, moving on. So that was expectation number one. I expected schoolwork to be a lot harder than it was. It was not, but the thing that was harder than I thought it was going to be is finding that balance of school to social life. All right, guys, expectation number two. I expected it to be a lot like movies. I expected the parties to be crazy. I expected everybody to be drunk and high and all that kind of stuff. That was correct. I have nothing to say there. That expectation's pretty spot on. Pretty close to reality. The parties in like movies like Neighbors 2, like those parties are decently spot on. Huge, big, raging parties like Project X and stuff like that. Not so much, but when I went to U of I, my freshman year, it was considered one of the biggest party schools in the country. So definitely was up there in the parties, but nothing close to like Project X type of stuff. But it was a lot of fun, I will say that. All right, expectation number 3. I expected it to be harder to be away from my parents. It was really hard, especially the first day. I'm not gonna lie, I cried pretty much all night saying bye to them. It was really weird. But what I will say is that as you get wrapped up, as you get busy, as you keep yourself busy, the time really does fly. So it becomes, oh my God, I miss my parents, while you're not doing schoolwork, while you're not busy. And then really quickly becomes, oh hey, I'm gonna go see my parents this week. I didn't even realize I hadn't been home for 2-3 weeks. So it's always great to definitely have that time to come home. But at least for me, I know everyone's different. For me, my expectation was that I was gonna miss them every single day, and that it was gonna be really weird to not see them every day. But it got to a point where I was so busy with schoolwork, I was so busy with friends, that the time kind of just mushed together. And then when I did get to go see them, it was great. But when I wasn't there, I wasn't necessarily sitting there sulking in my room thinking, oh my God, I haven't seen my parents. So that was an expectation that I had going in, that I would miss my parents and my family back home. And I did miss them, don't get me wrong. I definitely did miss you guys, miss them like crazy. But it was just, I got to a point in a mode where I was constantly so busy and constantly thinking about the future and constantly thinking about what I had to get done and who I had to go hang out with and what I had to do, that it kind of got put on the back burner a little bit. And then by the time I started realizing like, hey, I haven't like seen my family, it was time to like go visit them. And then like big breaks like Thanksgiving break, which a lot of U of I students are going on right now, that break definitely helps alleviate missing people, because you're able to stay home, go home for a while, especially now. Stay home, guys. COVID. I don't know why I pointed at myself when I said COVID, but remember COVID. So definitely get that home time in, spend time with your family, stay safe. But yeah, that was expectation number 3 versus the reality of not thinking about it all the time, I guess. So yeah. All right, so I said I might throw an expectation number 4 in. I actually am. Expectation number 4 was just that like it would be so hard to live on my own and not be in the dorm. And really that's not it at all. It's just, it is scarier to be out of the dorm because you have to think about getting your own food. You have to think about rent. You have to think about paying a parking spot. And these are things that you wouldn't necessarily have to think about if you're in the dorm. You have to think about internet, all that stuff. But I would encourage anyone who's watching this who might be a little younger than I am or a lot younger than I am, when you go to college, definitely take that first opportunity to explore what you have, explore your options to move out of a dorm, because moving out of a dorm is definitely going to set you up for that responsibility that you have to have after you graduate. If I wouldn't have moved out of a dorm and like had to pay my own things right away, I think I wouldn't have been set up at my first year out of college. I graduated in May. I wouldn't have been set up to be living on my own right now. I would think I would be too scared to kind of take that step. So definitely making sure you do that is a huge thing. Do it as a sophomore. Don't wait. Living on your own with friends or family or whatever. Like, I moved in with my girlfriend after living in a dorm with her, and it was great. It was an easy transition. We lived in a super kind of shitty area. Well, not shitty area, but like shitty apartment. It was actually the leasing office that they turned into an apartment. So you can imagine it was a little crappy, but we made it work and we turned it into a place that we loved, and we made a lot of great memories there. So definitely just kind of taking that first step. First step's always the hardest and it's always going to be the scariest, but making sure you take that first step to set yourself up for success later is going to be huge, because college, as much as it is about getting that degree and learning everything you can in the classroom, it's also about learning those things outside of the classroom too. Learning how to balance your checkbook when you have rent due, learning how to balance your checkbook when you might want to go out with friends but you have rent and a car payment due. Learning that stuff while you're in college and you have a little bit of a safety net of your parents being able to help support you if that's something that you have, or the safety net of having your loans or anything like that is something that you won't get anywhere else in life. So definitely taking advantage of that while you have it in college is going to be huge. So there you go, guys. Those were 4 expectations that I had of college versus the reality of college for me personally. It could be different for everyone. Most likely is different for everyone, but I just want to let you guys in on a couple things that I feel were overall expectations that a lot of people have, and overall realities that most people will have going into college. All right, thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye.